Midwest Whitetail is brought to you by Realtree, Hoyt Archery, Muddy Outdoors, Fuse Accessories, Frigid Forage, Trophy Rock, Scott Archery, Cabela's, Rocket Broadheads, Execute Scent Control, Bloodsport Arrows, Redneck Hunting Blinds, Scentmaster, Yeti Coolers, Quiet Cat, Non-Typical Wildlife Solutions, Deer Grow, Icon Cameras, and Nikon.
Welcome to Midwest Whitetail. Last week I talked about one of the poor man plots that we'd established a few years ago and how the drought had pretty well wiped it out. This is going to be a critical hunting spot for me this fall. So today I'm going to go back in there and I'm going to get this thing fixed up and ready to go for the 2015 season. So I'll walk you through that whole process and we'll go into the importance of these poor man plots and how easy they really are to create. It's really something that everybody can do. But before we get into that, we've got some shed hunting action from this past weekend, some updates on how things have been going there, and then once that's finished up, I'll come back and dive into the poor man plot.
It's February 28th and we're getting ready to go out on a little shed hunt today with some of the guys from the office. We were gonna have a great big old hunt today. We had a bunch of guys that were planning to come down from Wisconsin, but the weather did not cooperate. We got a couple inches of snow on Thursday, so we canceled that. We're hoping to pick up a few antlers in the food plot. The snow's made it just difficult enough, but we're still gonna give it a shot. So that's the plan, and hopefully we can pick up a few antlers. Well, Justin picked up another one. He's a shed magnet today. We walked half of the big bottom down here where Bill was hunting my deer. Yeah, this is where it all went down. But this is where they were seeing touchdown and a couple of those other deer that they were getting late season, but pretty disappointing so far. So we're gonna go hit some southern exposures here. There's a really nice grassy draws that work all the way down the creek here. So we're gonna walk that and see if we can find something. It's always been good in the past. Those deer seem to bed on in those areas and work their way to these food plots. So hopefully we can pick up something. We're gonna keep going. Well, we wrapped up our walk and as you can see, we picked up a meager 4 sheds and 1 dead buck. So conditions weren't perfect, but it was good to get out and walk before the snow came in. We did get a couple of familiar ones. This is a buck that those guys have seen a couple times. They filmed him chasing a doe up in the cornfield. An old fatty showed up today. So that's it. We got some exercise, but not many antlers. But we're not done yet. It's March 14th and we're ready to start a good old shed hunt here on Bill's farm. We've got 6 folks out here with us today. We are going to walk through the big valley. As you can see right now, we're at the cabin and it looked like Bill had some beans out here, but they are gone, and we kind of walked that field coming back here to the cabin, did not find anything. And we're going to walk the big valley here. It's one of our big walks that we do every year. We'll actually pop out on the ridge where Bill shot double G4, so should be a good walk. From the few walks we've done so far, the numbers are down big time, but still good to get out and see if we can find some white antlers here. The snow is gone completely. We had a couple big trips planned with more people coming down, and it just turned out that we got snow and things got canceled. So we've got a small crew, but we're going to be efficient and see if we can find some antlers today. Well, I'm sorry to say this is all we have to show from a lot of miles this weekend. We've got, somewhere around a dozen or so antlers here. There's 3 or 4 antlers that we found on a couple other weekends that aren't in here. Nothing big, but a couple of finds that we knew. This one came off of my farm. This is that buck that my dad nearly shot with a shotgun this year during the first season, so he's still running around. But a couple dead bucks came off of Bill's. That one's an old one, but they don't look like EHD kills. That's the good news. They're all in real good hard horn. You can always tell those EHDs usually die early in the summer and their antlers don't have the mass to them yet. So either we're pretty crummy shed hunters or there aren't a lot of sheds to find. But we were just talking to a neighbor over there at Bill's too, and they were having the same issues. Just not finding the antlers like we used to. So shed season is pretty much wrapped up. We're tired, we're sore, and I'm angry about the results.
Hey guys, today is Sunday, March 22nd, and it's been about a week since we had the big shed hunt. And last night, John, Chantel, and myself all went out and walked Bill's farm, and we had a few big surprises from a few deer that we recognize. The first one and most recognizable is Big Junior here. This is actually a shed from last year. The neighbor picked up both sides from him this year, and this is definitely not an antler that we expected to find. We were walking through all that tall grass that leads down into the big bottom, and I came across this, and as soon as I picked it up from this distinct brow tine, I knew what deer it was. So this would be his shed from last year. Mike Pruka, I believe, actually has the other side to this deer that he found down in the big bottom. So that was a huge surprise. Definitely didn't expect to find that. Another antler we found was the other side to the old 8-pointer that I found back in February. And this deer, he sits real narrow on his head. It's a cool deer. He's real old. He's got to be at least, I think, 9 years old. So that's a really cool find. John picked up this side, and this is the side I found in February. Chantel found this antler. This is a younger deer. Really cool antler though. All those tines kind of curve in. Really anxious to see what he turns into. And John also picked up this antler. As you can see, this is one that's probably been sitting there for a while. It's got to be at least 2 years that it's been on the ground. The lighting was just perfect last night. That's when we were finding all these older antlers. So it was really cool to get out there. Like I said, the conditions were great. We picked up a lot of cool antlers. There's definitely still some antlers out there to be found. And I think we're going to try and get out a few more times before turkey season. And if we find any more surprises, we'll bring that to you.
We just didn't have quite as many bucks on the farm as what we're used to. So the number of sheds that we found was down quite a lot from some of the prior years. And hopefully that's something that's going to change over the next 2 to 3 years. We're starting to see the populations of deer rise again. It's a slow regrowth or rebuilding from these EHD outbreaks. We did find antlers from a couple bucks that we recognized, so that was fun. And I'm sure we'll get out and hunt for a couple of other ones that we didn't find the antlers from. So keep checking back and hopefully we can show you some of those deer. Now I'm going to get into this whole subject of the poor man plot. And I'm sure that this will not be a one-time subject we're going to cover today and then not revisit, because it's too important of a subject that I think can really change the way that you hunt. There's nothing that really holds deer into a certain spot better than food, and there's nothing that stops them if they're traveling from one area to another better than one of these little small, I call them almost staging area food plots or micro plots. And you can do these things on a budget. Almost anybody hunting on permission can pull off one of these poor man plots. This one dates back to, I think it's 2 years. I think we started this one 2 years ago. That would have been the 2013 growing season when we had a pretty severe drought, if I'm not mistaken. It was either 2013 or 2012 maybe. But I know that this one droughted out really bad. So we got to bring that thing back. And we're going to burn it today. We're going to get all the residue off that plot, and then we're going to go ahead and frost seed the Pure Trophy Clover blend from Frigid Forage into that food plot. And there's a whole lot more that goes into these things than what we're going to do today, because we're basically taking you at about the halfway point. We'll do another one someplace else on the farm when the conditions start to get a little bit greened up. Normally, we don't have the luxury of being able to burn stuff this early in the year. By burning it off now, we'll have some good bare dirt that we can spread the seed onto. We've got a couple other frosts, a couple more frosts in the forecast, and then even any kind of a good rain is dry and exposed as the soil is going to be. It will drive the seed down into it. You don't need to be very deep with clover. That's why frost seeding works so well. So a typical poor man plot would probably start about the time things are greening up, because normally you have to go in and spray and get a good kill. This spot, it had annual weeds on it, so all we need to do is burn them off and then get our clover growing. So that's the step for today. Like I said, this is something that everybody can do, and it really will change the way that you hunt. Let's get back in there and get to work. I've got the job wrapped up for today. There's still quite a bit we have to do here. There was more green down in there than what I thought there would be, so I'm going to have to come back again and spray this. And I'd like to wait. I think it's supposed to be warmer next week. Really, you have limited success when you spray when the ground is this cold and the plants aren't growing very fast. We'll come back again next week and do that. The clover won't have germinated yet by then. It's going to need warmer soils too before it's really going to take off. We got most of it burned off, the worst of it. There's still a few leaves and some stalks left in the plot, but you know, with the rains that are going to come here over the next few weeks, that'll knock those seeds basically off the whatever it is that's keeping them, you know, from touching the ground. It'll knock them loose and get them down, work down into the soil. That's it's kind of your quick primer on the poor man plot process and frost seeding. Now is the time to be frost seeding. If you're you know, if you're looking for, you know, some way to revitalize an area that maybe got droughted out, or maybe you're working with a plot that was big and beastie last year, or even going into some bean ground, something where you've got bare dirt to work with, frost seeding works really well. The other thing we've started messing with a little bit more around here is using the plow down clovers, and Frigid Forage has the blend for that. You can frost seed it now, and then at the end of the summer or in the middle of summer, about the time you would be planting your big and beastie, you plow that under, and it's a great source of nutrient. It's a nitrogen source is what it is for the big and beastie. And then during the summer you have a little bit of browse there for the deer too. So it's something else to consider, another option in your food plot regimen. I'm going to wrap up right here. Next week I'm going to get my trophy rocks out. It's time to be thinking about that. As soon as the bucks are starting to grow antlers and the does are starting to you know, carry those fawns a little bit, you know, more heavily, it's time to give them all the nutrients we possibly can. So look for that next week. We'll wrap up this the final work on this poor man plot. I've got a couple more tree stands I've got to put up, and you know, we've got some more stuff we're going to be bringing you here during the off season. Lots of topics that we're looking forward to talking about. So appreciate you joining me this week. We'll see you right back here again next week for the next episode of Midwest Whitetail, and remember to always dream big.